She walked quietly across the gleaming lobby, head bowed low, pushing the janitor's cart as if apologizing just for existing in a skyscraper built of glass and ambition. In this tower where million-dollar contracts were signed behind soundproof doors, there was a man nobody noticed, a black man invisible in a world of brilliance. And yet it was him, Darius Hale, who did the impossible. Because the little girl everyone in the building feared, the daughter of billionaire Serena Vale, was untouchable. That girl, Lila Vale, had once been the smile of the entire empire. Now there was only silence. Several nannies had come and gone. Therapists had given up. She screamed when treated with kindness, cried when anyone touched her, and locked her heart behind invisible walls. Until one seemingly ordinary afternoon, Darius was mopping the marble floor near the elevators when he heard a soft sob behind a column. He stopped, set the mop aside, and walked closer. Then he knelt down slowly, carefully, as if afraid to break something fragile. From the pocket of his shirt, he took out a small object, something that looked ordinary, but somehow made the whole world stand still. And then, miraculously, the girl stopped crying. In the heart of the gleaming tower that was Vale Innovations, in the heart of New York City, the glass walls reflected the light of the entire city below. Serena Vale stood motionless, her rich brown fingers trembling as they touched the edge of her laptop. Her natural hair, usually styled in an elegant twist, was pulled back simply today, revealing the exhaustion in her dark eyes. On the screen was another psychological report about her daughter, Lila. Patient completely rejects strangers. Severe symptoms of deep pain, no response to therapy, further intervention recommended. Serena slowly closed the laptop. Not again. The CEO of a vast biotech empire, a black woman who had shattered every glass ceiling, now stood powerless before her young daughter. Since the day her husband died in a plane crash not long ago, Lila had become a shadow of herself. Those eyes, still so young, carried a hollowness most adults would never dare to face. Not long ago, Lila had been the light of this office, and she ran in holding a drawing. "Mom, look, I drew us, you, Daddy, and me." Marcus laughed, his deep voice filling the room as he lifted his daughter. "Do you know your mom is the smartest woman in the world?" "I know," Lila giggled, her brown curls bouncing. "But Daddy's the best." Now only the hum of the air conditioner remained. Serena opened the special room designed for Lila. In the far corner, Lila sat curled up, her beautiful brown skin looking almost gray in the dim light, clutching an old doll, the last gift from her father. "Lila, sweetheart," Serena knelt down. "Today we're going to meet a new doctor." "No!" The scream tore through the room. "I don't want any doctors. I want Daddy back." The doll flew across the room. Serena froze, her hands trembling. A woman who could run a global empire didn't know how to hold her own daughter. For some time, she had tried everything. Several nannies quit, multiple therapists failed. Every professional wrote the same line: "This child needs time or a miracle." But Serena Vale no longer believed in miracles. Early one morning, the old apartment in Brooklyn lay shrouded in darkness. Darius Hale shut off the alarm and sat up. He carried years in his eyes that made him seem older than his age. Silver streaks touched both temples of his close-cropped hair. His deep brown eyes held lines etched by sleepless nights. He walked into the next room, photos taped to the wall, pictures of a little black boy with bright eyes and a missing front tooth. Kai, Darius, stood still. Every morning he stopped before the largest photo, Kai smiling, hugging a stuffed dog. "Good night, my little boy," he whispered, even though the sun was rising. Then he quietly closed the door, carrying that familiar weight in his chest. Years earlier, the small apartment had been full of laughter. "Daddy, look, I built a castle." His young son sat surrounded by Lego bricks. Darius knelt down, smiling. "It's beautiful. My boy is a genius architect. Then I'll build a castle for you to live in." "For me? Why is that?" "Because you deserve it. You're the best dad in the world." He didn't know it would be the last time he heard that laugh. Now, in the packed subway car, Darius sat silently wearing his navy blue janitor uniform. He opened his worn canvas bag. Inside was a cloth pouch, his whole world. Handmade toys, a patched teddy bear, a felt rabbit, a tiny wooden car. Once Darius had been a preschool teacher. He was married to Elena, a nurse. They had Kai, and though life was modest, their little home overflowed with laughter. Each night, Darius would tell Kai bedtime stories. Once upon a time, there was a rabbit who couldn't hop. But he didn't give up. He practiced every day, and one day he jumped higher than all the rest. Kai tilted his head. Dad, why didn't the rabbit give up? Because he knew that what makes us special isn't what we're good at. It's that we never give up. He didn't know that was the last night he'd ever tell Kai a story. The accident happened on a fall afternoon. Elena was driving Kai home from school. A truck lost control. A devastating crash. Elena survived. Kai didn't. Darius got the call while teaching. He ran to the hospital, his heart pounding. When the doctor stepped out, one look told him everything. Darius collapsed to the floor. Elena never forgave herself. It's my fault. I killed our son. No, Elena. It was an accident. I should have died instead. After some time, he woke to find a letter. Dear Darius, I can't live with this pain anymore. I'm sorry. I love you, but I have to go. Elena. She left and never came back. He lost his son, then his wife, and after that, he slowly began to lose himself. He couldn't return to teaching. He quit. In the years that followed, Darius did everything. Waiter, driver, mover, whatever paid the bills, until he found a job at a janitorial company. Why do you want this job? The manager asked. Because no one notices the janitor, and I don't want to be seen anymore. But there was one thing Darius never gave up. Every night, he sat alone, stitching scraps of fabric, carving bits of wood, making toys the way he once did for Kai. Maybe because when those little things took shape, he felt Kai was still there. One afternoon, the Vail Innovations building shimmered under the fading sunlight. Darius had been working there quietly for some time, mopping floors, emptying trash cans. No one called him by name. They just knew him as the janitor in the executive suite. But no one noticed the small things. He noticed the little black girl who always sat alone in the executive hallway, clutching a worn-out doll. She didn't look at anyone, didn't speak. Those eyes, Darius recognized them instantly. They were the eyes of a child who had lost a piece of her soul, the same look Kai had. One afternoon, Darius was mopping the marble floor when he heard it, a faint sob buried beneath the air conditioner's hum. He froze, listened. The sound came from behind the last marble column, a hidden corner with no security cameras. He hesitated, but that cry pulled something deep inside him, memories of Kai trembling through nightmares. Before he realized it, Darius's feet were moving toward the sound. Behind the column, Lila Vale sat curled up, face buried in her arms. Her small body shook. Darius stopped, keeping a respectful distance. He said nothing. Then slowly, he knelt. Lila didn't look up, but her breathing changed. She could feel someone there. Darius stayed quiet. He simply sat beside her, motionless. A gentle stillness filled the space between them. He reached into his pocket and took out a small teddy bear. He had sewn it the night before. Faded brown, clumsy stitches, two-button eyes. Shiny, yet sad. Darius placed the bear on the floor halfway between them. No words, no gestures, just presence. Time seemed to stop. Lila slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were swollen. She looked at the bear, then at the quiet man. Darius didn't smile. He simply nodded once gently. The girl reached out, trembling, and touched the bear. Then she hugged it tight. The fabric was soft, warm, and for the first time in a long while, Lila stopped crying. Not because someone told her to stop, but because at last she felt allowed to be weak, to hurt without being judged. Darius stayed there, silent. After a little while, he quietly stood, picked up his mop, and walked away. Up in the executive suite, Serena Vale stared at the security footage. The image of a black man in a blue uniform kneeling beside her daughter, placing a clumsy little teddy bear on the floor, made her chest tighten painfully. Tears streamed down her face. She had just witnessed a miracle. And the man who performed it was someone no one had noticed for some time. The next morning, Serena arrived early. She grabbed the phone. I need information on the janitor from the executive suite. Male, brown complexion. You must mean Darius Hale. He's with the cleaning company. I want his file now. An hour later, the file appeared. Name, Darius Hale. Education, bachelor's in early childhood education. Previous occupation, preschool teacher. Reason for leaving, not specified. Current job, janitor. A preschool teacher turned janitor? Something didn't add up. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. Lila, the child who hadn't left her room in a long while, opened the door and walked out. She simply held her teddy bear and walked down the stairs, one slow step at a time. In the downstairs lounge, Darius was wiping the coffee tables. Lila stood a short distance away, hugging the bear tightly. Darius turned around. Their eyes met. Then Lila walked closer and sat down on the floor a few steps away. Darius said nothing. He kept cleaning. A little while later, he sat down. From his pocket, he took out a plastic bottle cap and placed it gently between them. Once upon a time, there was a tiny bottle cap. Everyone threw it away because they thought it had no value, but the cap knew a secret. Lila's eyes widened. "What secret?" she whispered, her voice shaky. Darius looked up, surprised. It was the first time he'd heard her speak. He smiled softly. The cap knew that its worth wasn't about how others saw it, but how it saw itself. Was the cap sad? Darius paused. He took a slow breath and nodded. Yes, very sad. But then it met a friend, and that friend showed it that being sad doesn't mean you're weak. "Are you sad too?" He smiled faintly. "I used to be very sad, and sometimes I still am." "Why?" "Because I lost someone very important." She looked up, whispering, "I lost my dad too." Darius's heart clenched. "I know, and I'm so sorry." Then they sat there in silence. Two souls, one man who had lost his child, and one little girl who had lost her father, sat side by side, sharing their pain in quiet understanding. Up in the executive suite, Serena watched the security feed, tears streaming. Her daughter was talking, for the first time in a long while. A few days later, the investigative report landed on Serena's desk. Darius Hale, married to Elena, one son Kai, severe traffic collision. Elena was driving when struck by a truck. Elena survived. Kai died. Darius requested indefinite leave, never returned to teaching. Elena admitted for major depression. After some time, she left home. Darius relocated to Brooklyn, living alone. Serena covered her mouth, tears welling. Now she understood. Darius wasn't just a man who happened to help Lila. He was a father trying to save another child because he couldn't save his own. That afternoon, Serena summoned Darius to her office. "Sit down," she said softly. He sat, hands folded stiffly. Serena slid the folder across the desk. "I know about Kai." Darius froze. She continued, "I'm sorry. No father deserves to endure that." Darius said nothing. Serena took a breath. "I lost my husband not long ago in a plane crash. Lila and I were waiting at the airport. Then the phone rang. No survivors." Darius looked up. "I'm so sorry," he said quietly. "Thank you. But I understand your pain, and I think you understand Lila's." Darius's voice grew low. "She feels like part of her died, and nothing can fill that space." Serena nodded, tears shimmering. "Yes, but you did what no one else could. You made her feel allowed, to hurt, to cry, to remember." Darius exhaled slowly. "That's all I ever wished someone had told me after Kai died. Everyone said, 'Be strong, move on.' But I didn't want to move on. I wanted to grieve. I wanted to remember him." Serena wiped her eyes. "You still make toys for Kai, don't you?" Darius looked surprised. "How do you know?" "I noticed. Every toy you've given Lila, handmade, sewn with care." Darius smiled faintly. "Yes. I make one every night so I can feel like he's still here. And now you give them to Lila. Maybe that's what Kai would want. Maybe that's how he still helps other children through me." Serena stood and walked to the window. "Darius, I'd like to ask you something for my daughter." Darius looked up. "What is it?" "Stay, not as a janitor, as Lila's friend, someone she can trust." He hesitated. "But I'm not a therapist. I have no credentials. You have something no degree can teach. Heart and understanding." Darius sat in silence. Then he nodded. "I'll stay, but on one condition." "What condition?" "I don't want Lila to think I'm replacing her father. I'm just a friend. Someone who listens." Serena smiled softly. "That's exactly what I want too." Darius stood and extended his hand. Serena took it. Not the handshake of a CEO and employee, but of two people learning to live again after loss. Rumors spread through Vale Innovations like wildfire. The CEO hired a janitor to care for her daughter. The board of directors called an emergency meeting. Vivian Ellis, a senior board member, stood up. "Serena, this decision is incomprehensible. Mr. Hale has no certification. If anything goes wrong, this company faces serious liability." Serena's tone stayed calm. "He helped my daughter." Julian Park interjected. "Are you aware he lost a child? That could influence how he interacts with Lila." Serena rose, her voice sharp as steel. "I know exactly what happened to him, and that's precisely why he understands my daughter better than anyone." A few others started to speak, but Serena cut them off. "That's enough. This is my decision. Anyone who disagrees is free to leave." Silence fell. Vivian sighed. Serena, you're acting out of emotion, not logic. Serena met her gaze. Emotion? For a long while, my daughter hasn't spoken. All your experts have failed. Yet one man, no title, no degree, made her smile. So don't talk to me about logic. Logic can't save my child. No one said another word. A week later, the storm hit. The front page screamed, Billionaire Serena Vale hires janitor to care for daughter. Scandal or desperation. Within hours, social media exploded. Supporters wrote, she's just a mother trying to save her child. You don't need a degree to heal, you need heart. Critics fired back, this is a scandal. That man could be dangerous. A few days later, the police received an anonymous complaint. That afternoon, 2 police officers arrived. Darius was in the cafe with Lila telling a story when a firm voice sounded. Mr. Darius Hale? He turned. Yes, we need to speak with you. Lila startled. Who are they, Uncle Darius? Darius knelt. It's all right, sweetheart. They just want to ask questions. But panic flashed across her face. She clutched his hand. No, they'll take you away, just like they took my dad. The cafe fell silent. The officers stepped closer. Sir, you'll need to come with us. Another voice rang out, strong, commanding. What's going on here? Serena Vale. Mrs. Vale, we received a complaint. Complaint about what? That's confidential. Serena stepped forward. Mr. Hale works for me. If you want to ask questions, you'll go through our legal team. Ma'am, we're just doing our job, and I'm doing mine, protecting my employee. Without a court order, you have no right to take him. A tense silence. Finally, one officer murmured, We'll be back. They left. That night, Darius went to Serena's office. I think I should leave. No, I'm causing trouble for you and for Lila. You're helping her. That's all that matters. Darius shook his head. They won't stop, Serena. They'll dig into my past, and when they do, they'll turn me into a monster. Serena stepped closer. Then we'll fight. I don't want to fight. I just want Lila to be safe. She won't be safe if you walk away. You know that. Darius said nothing, and in that quiet moment he understood. Leaving was no longer an option. It was a Thursday night. Serena was in her office. Her phone rang. Mrs. Vale, Lila, she's gone. Serena froze. What did you just say? She was in her room. I went to the kitchen a few minutes. When I came back, she's gone. Serena called Darius immediately. Lila's missing. Darius slammed the brakes. How long? Not long ago. Was she carrying anything? Just her teddy bear and sketchbook. He already knew where she was. The old Vale Innovations headquarters. The building where Marcus once worked. Long ago, Lila had asked Uncle Darius, where did my dad used to work? At the old building near Mapleview Park. I want to go there someday. That's where his memories are, right? He sped through the quiet streets. The old tower appeared, its rusted sign reading Vale Innovations. He slipped in through the side door. Lila, where are you? No answer, only his echo. He climbed, 3rd floor, 4th. Then on the 5th, Marcus's old office, he saw a faint glow beneath the door. Darius pushed it open. In the corner, Lila sat curled up, clutching her teddy bear, her cheeks streaked with tears. Lila. She looked up. Uncle Darius. He ran to her and pulled her into his arms. You scared me half to death. Why did you run away? Through sobs, she whispered, I just wanted to find my dad. You came here to find him? Lila nodded. This is where he worked. I thought if I came here, I'd feel closer to him. Darius held her tighter. But you know he's not here anymore. But I miss him so much. I want to hear his voice again. I don't want to forget him, Uncle Darius. Darius lifted her chin gently. You'll never forget him. He's in you every single day. But what if I forget what he looks like? Darius smiled faintly. Then look in the mirror. You have his eyes, his smile, and his heart. Every time you see yourself, he's right there, looking back at you. Lila burst into tears, wrapping her arms around him. But I want him here. Darius held her close. I know. I want my son here too, every single day. The sound of heels echoed down the hallway. Serena appeared, flanked by security. The moment she saw Lila in Darius's arms, she raised a hand. Stop. Everyone froze. Lila. The little girl turned. Mom. Serena rushed forward and held her tight. You scared me to death, sweetheart. I'm sorry, Mom. I just wanted to find Dad. Tears spilled down Serena's cheeks. I know, baby. I've been looking for him too, every single day. Lila looked up. But I don't have Dad anymore. I only have Mom and Uncle Darius. Serena looked at Darius, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for finding her. Darius shook his head. I didn't find her, ma'am. She found me. From the very beginning. After that night, Serena knew she couldn't stay silent. She called a press conference. That morning, before hundreds of reporters, the CEO of Vale Innovations stepped up to the podium. My name is Serena Vale, and today I want to talk about my daughter. The room fell silent. Not long ago, I lost my husband, and my daughter lost her father. I tried everything to help Lila, hired the best specialists, spent a great deal. Nothing worked until I met Darius Hale. She paused. He's not a doctor. He's not a therapist. He's simply someone who's felt the same pain my daughter feels. And there are things no classroom can teach. A reporter raised a hand. Mrs. Vale, aren't you worried about your daughter's safety? Serena's voice was unwavering. My daughter is safer than she's ever been. Not because he has a certificate, but because he has a heart. And if this world keeps valuing credentials over compassion, maybe we're the ones who need healing. The room stayed frozen. Only the clicking of cameras remained. 1 week later, Serena announced a new initiative, Kai's Hope, a free program for children coping with grief, trauma, or loss. She asked Darius to lead it. I'm not a leader, he said. You're the only one who can do this. You understand these kids. Darius finally agreed, but it has to be called Kai's Hope, so my son can still be part of it. Serena nodded. Agreed. Over time, Kai's Hope opened. No glass conference rooms, just a warm, cozy space. Thick rugs, golden light, shelves filled with handmade toys. On the main wall hung a photo of Kai, smiling wide, his front tooth missing. Beneath it, sometimes the brightest light comes from the smallest hearts. During the first week, several children showed up. A young boy who'd lost his mother, a girl caught between divorced parents, a boy bullied at school. Darius sat with them. He didn't teach. He simply listened. Then he told a story. Once upon a time, there was a little star. It wasn't as bright as the others, so it thought it was useless. But one night, a lost child wandered into the forest, and the star's faint light was enough to guide the child home. From that night on, the star realized so now it's not measured by how brightly we shine, but by who we shine for. The children listened, eyes wide, breath still, and in the corner, Lila sat beside a new girl, holding her hand. It's okay, Lila whispered. Mr. Darius will help you. He helped me too. That evening, after the children had gone, Darius and Serena stayed behind. Serena looked at Kai's picture. Do you ever regret it? Regret what? Staying. Opening up again. Darius was silent. No. At first, I thought I didn't deserve to be happy again. But Lila taught me something. That loving again doesn't mean forgetting. Serena nodded, smiling through tears. I've learned that too. From you. I didn't do anything. You did, Serena whispered. You showed me that strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about getting back up and helping someone else stand with you. One evening, Darius stopped by Serena and Lila's home, a small, warm apartment in Brooklyn. Lila opened the door, beaming. Uncle Darius, you're here? She tugged him to the kitchen. The table was set, pasta, salad, toasted bread. I made it myself, she declared. You did? It smells amazing. During dinner, Lila talked excitedly. A new boy came today. He was really sad. But when Uncle Darius told his story, he smiled. Serena looked at Darius. Thank you. For what? For giving my daughter back to me. Darius shook his head. No, ma'am. She was never lost. I just helped you see her again. After dinner, Lila pulled Darius into her room. She pointed to a drawing on the wall. 4 figures stood together. Marcus, Serena, Lila, and Darius. Beside Darius stood a small boy, holding his hand. That's Kai, Lila said with a shy smile. I drew him here so he wouldn't feel lonely. Darius went still. He knelt and hugged her tight, tears streaming. But this time, they weren't from grief, they were gratitude. Thank you, Lila. Thank you so much. Eventually, Kai's Hope had grown into centers across the city, reaching many children and families. At a celebration marking the progress of the program, Darius was invited to speak. I'm not a great speaker, he began. I'm just a father who once lost his child. The hall fell still. Years ago, I lost Kai, my son, in a car accident. At that time, I thought that was the end. His eyes drifted to the front row where Lila sat beside Serena, beaming. But then a little girl showed me that love never really ends. It only changes form. Kai isn't here anymore, but he lives in every story I tell, in every child I help. His voice broke. And that's why Kai's hope isn't just for children who are hurting. It's for the grown-ups too, the ones who've forgotten that we can still love even after our hearts have been broken. The whole room rose to its feet. Applause thundered. Lila ran onto the stage, throwing her arms around him. "I love you, Uncle Darius." He hugged her tightly. "I love you too, Lila." After the ceremony, Serena and Darius stood on the rooftop terrace looking out over New York. "Can you believe it?" Serena said. "Not long ago, I was a desperate mother, and you were the invisible man." Darius smiled. "And now?" She turned to him. "Now we're a family." "A family." Serena nodded. "Lila sees you as her second father, and I see you as a friend, a brother, a piece of our lives I didn't know we needed." Darius looked at her for a long time, then nodded. "I want that too. I'm just afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of losing again." Serena squeezed his hand. "Then we'll be afraid together and heal together." For the first time in years, Darius's heart no longer felt empty. One Sunday morning, Mapleview Park. Lila was on the swing set, Serena pushing her. Darius sat on a nearby bench, smiling. Beside him lay a photo album, pictures of Kai, pictures of Lila, and one photo of all three together. Not a traditional family, but one built from love. Not replacement, but continuation. "Uncle Darius, come push me," Lila called. He laughed. "All right, princess. Your turn." Laughter filled the morning air. Serena watched them, tears falling not of sorrow but of joy. Sometimes miracles don't come from experts. They come from ordinary people, people who understand pain because they've lived it. Darius Hale wasn't a hero. He was simply a father who lost his son, but through that loss, he found another child, not to replace Kai, but to honor him. And Lila, the girl no one could reach, now runs, laughs, and lives because someone saw her, sat beside her, and didn't try to fix her. He simply stayed, quiet, patient, loving. That's the real miracle, not healing completely, but learning to live with the wound, together. Today, Kai's Hope operates in many cities, helping countless children and families. The sun dipped low over the park. Lila's laughter echoed as the swing rose higher, while Darius and Serena sat side by side, silent, peaceful. The story ends, but the healing continues, because within each of us there is a Kai's hope, a small flicker that may lose its way, but still has the power to guide someone home.